So I'd like to take a little time to talk about our future state design sprint. This design sprint was developed for two purposes. The first purpose is to really establish the mindset within the organization that's needed to achieve breakthrough performance improvement. And the second is to get buy-in from everybody in the group that these are the things that we need to do and accomplish to achieve that breakthrough. The design sprint provides an outline of different elements that we walk through with your personnel to really understand what's our current situation and what do we need to change, what do we need to change to, and how to create that change. It's a streamlined process that we work with your team to collaboratively design a solution that fits your current environment and your culture. Three things we do during this sprint is we analyze your current state, we determine the future state, and we develop your future state design together with your team. This presentation has several points we're going to talk about. Some of our starting points and initial philosophies, the goal of the design sprint, what happens under the current state process, what happens in the future state process, what's the outcome in terms of the future state design, and then the planning, and then what typical results that we see of this process. Some of our starting points and philosophies are based on three principles. One is theory of constraints, the other one is lean principles, and the third one is total quality management principles. So the first starting point here is when we measure performance of an organization, we don't want to look at measuring the impact of departments individually, right? We want to look at measuring the impact of actions on the global impact of the company. So we're trying to break down the barriers between functions. Next, any system can only have one constraint, so therefore only one priority and one focus. Next, controlling the constraint means we can control a system. So if we have one area in the organization, a single point of control, if we can control that and make sure everyone is working to the requirements of that single point, then we maximize the effectiveness of the system. In order to improve the efficiency of the system, most processes in this system need to be less efficient. So what we mean by that is if we really want to make the constraint area effective, then sometimes other departments need to be less effective to improve the effectiveness of them constraints. So that's a hard concept for people to understand, but we walk through that methodology as part of the training. And the last one is if you want to finish earlier, start later and don't multitask. The goal of the design sprint is to gain insight on the current obstacles that are preventing the company from establishing breakthrough performance. And then second is providing that roadmap to how to achieve that. And we look at it from three perspectives. One is, what do we change? So in order to understand what to change in the organization, we need to understand what are the current challenges. So we do that by interviewing key personnel in the organization and understanding what are their frustrations and what's preventing them from being effective on a day-to-day basis. We do that to develop sort of a root cause analysis of all the issues that the organization is dealing with. Then the second piece is to review the current workflow and information flow within the organization. Once we do that, we'll present the information back in a half-day workshop that states how the information flows and current workflow flows in the organization from the interviews, and also called a current reality tree that defines all the issues in your company and then what we see as the root causes to those. Then we move to the second stage is what to change to. So once we get consensus on what we need to change, second step, consensus on what to change to. We do that first by doing usually a full day workshop on operational excellence that brings into account concepts of theory constraints, concepts of lean, concepts of total quality management. So what we're trying to do is educate the people in the room on different concepts so that we can design the future reality. So once we do that workshop, we take the knowledge from that workshop and develop the future reality using the current reality as the basis. So we're going to put injections into the current reality tree to make the future reality tree. Then the outcome of that, we take all those injections of what we need to do to create that future reality and put it into a goal tree. So the goal tree has a defined statement of what we're trying to achieve, all the initiatives to achieve that, and we also define critical success factors and KPIs that align with the goal and are supported by all the initiatives. Then the last step is to put all that into a project plan that defines how we're going to cause that change. So assigning responsibilities and due dates for different activities to create the whole roadmap. The current state process is broken up into the three elements that I already discussed: the interviews, and then reviewing the current information and material flow, and the workshop that reports on what our findings are. And typically when we look at the root cause, we start to see some core conflicts that the organization has been struggling with. What we want to do as part of this future state design is to break those conflicts. So the second part of the design process is the future state, and that's broken up into three workshops: the full day operational excellence workshop, the half day putting the injections into the tree to create the future reality tree, and then sequencing those and reviewing the goal tree as a result of the work that we did. Future State Design Sprints concludes with the presentation of your specific design and the action items that are necessary to achieve that breakthrough performance. As part of the transition, of course, there's going to be training. So there's also training needs that are identified as part of that process. Depending on what tools and techniques are needed to achieve your future state, there's also a training plan that'll go along with that. So the typical schedule is, in the first week and a half, is conducting the interview, creating the flow map, and also creating, which we use a value stream map, and also creating the current reality tree. Starting in week 2 into week 3, we do the one-day workshop, then get the same team together to develop the future state, and then week 4 is to putting the implementation plan together. So the result, we really look, when we're trying to improve company performance, we really look at it as 3 stages. Stage 1 is to achieve stability. So what that means is the outcomes are predictable. So whether you're doing an entire company transition or a function, a specific function in the organization, the first step of the process is to get stability, which means the work that's being done is, the output of that work is predictable in terms of quality and lead time and delivery. Once we get stable, the next step is to improve capability. Maybe the outcome's predictable, but maybe lead times are still too long. Things might be predictable, but there still might be some things that aren't satisfying the customer's needs. So that's where we focus on improving the capability at that step. Once we do that, the third stage is really focusing on continuous improvements. Don't start any continuous improvement events until we achieve stability and capability first. The typical results from our process are: we synchronize the flow, we improve delivery performance, we reduce inventory and free up cash as part of stage 1. And we also improve the bottom line because we're going to do more work with the resources that we have. So we're not looking to add additional resources. We're looking to leverage the resources you currently have to get more done with the resources you have. Then stage 2, we're starting to get more employees involved. We might do an employee skills matrix to understand where we have extra capacity, where we don't have extra capacity, and where we can flex resources to help in other areas. This step usually reduces lead time significantly, because now we're going to leverage the resources you have across functions to increase the workflow within different departments where we have bottlenecks. The third step is to focus on continuous improvement. So now we're going to do focus improvement initiatives to really start leveraging the training that we did and the implementation that we did in the first two stages. And then at this point, the company performance should improve significantly, and we'll start to see more and more demand. Part of that continuous improvement process is remaining stable and capable while the company is in growth mode, which is extremely difficult to do. So if your organization is able to do that, that's a huge competitive advantage where you can actually grow the company and still maintain short lead times, high quality, and high customer focus. If you're looking to get more information about our design sprint, you can go to our website, www.futurestateengineering.com, or if you'd like more information, you can send us an email at info@futurestateengineering.com or give me a call at 716-640-6334.